Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Man, we appreciate y'all coming in to the Man Cave Experience and seeing what this is all about with myself, Cedric Edison, and the amazing, wonderful man I get to call my friend Ron Serving. Um, as always, man, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We have a pretty interesting topic to talk about today, but before we jump into that, I want to pass it over to Ron so he can say his hellos.
Yeah, I don't think listeners I've ever had the honor of wishing you a good morning. We're doing our episode today in the wee morning hours to kind of connect with our schedules. Um, yeah, checking in seems to be, as always, with a lot of things going on, which kind of creates some anxiety and uncertainty, which I sometimes do well with, sometimes don't, which kind of led into kind of what we're talking about today. But just great to be here. Great to be here in this space. Always feel that what we've done here is just really good for us as men, and really appreciate whatever influence or whatever energy we put out there, how that might help anybody listening in. So just a lot of gratitude. Heading on vacation today, so lots of gratitude going on. Gratitude for my buddy Sid. Gratitude for my life. Just gratitude that I'm grateful that I'm alive and feeling a feeling man.
Hey, I want everybody to know because I just gotta say it. Hey, where you going on vacation to?
going to Catalina.
Fucking Catalina wine mixer.
That is so
I had to, man. I had to. And if y'all don't know, don't catch it. I highly recommend you guys watch the movie Step Brothers, and then that'll make a whole lot of sense to
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think I told you we were actually, my brother-in-law I think he was on the island or saw when they were filming that. So yeah, so we're heading to the island where Step Brothers took our part, at least part of it took place. So yeah.
That's pretty neat, man. That's pretty neat. Hey, man, what's on your mind, man?
Wow. I really felt like over the years, my level of patience has become, more, or has become better and better. Just, being in long lines, waiting on hold, all these things where, these our desire to have something happen immediately for us. So we're not, either feeling like we're wasting time or, doing something that we want to do versus somebody else kind of holding us at bay because they're needing to respond to our request. But yesterday, man, I was having I've been having some issues with my email access. So things have changed within, kind of who manages our email. So we had Verizon, then we had Frontier, and then Frontier, we got shipped over to AOL to go through a third party, host for that. So I couldn't, kind of look at or send emails, which, kind of in hindsight, it's like, it's just an email, right? It's just a freaking email, way of corresponding with somebody. But I found myself just actually a couple of times, just a couple F-bombs in my office by myself, just the frustration that I felt. And it came out in my conversation with, the tech who was, she was doing her best to give me as much information as possible. So it came out there. But it was more, it was all about what I needed, not so much what she was unable to give me. I didn't really at the time think about, maybe her hands were tied or she only had to be able to, she could only give me the information she had and help me in the way she could. But then it kind of carried into my son coming home. He had a great day at the beach. There were some things that he did that I needed to talk to him about leaving lights on and just some teenage things. But so my frustration with my phone call and my lack of patience, which is what we're talking about today, carried over into just conversations with him, and it just created a different version of me, just reacting, being defensive, getting on him. For several hours after that. So it's just interesting, the whole energy of patience and how we're in control of that. I think we've learned as we experience life, how we best cope with that, whether we just avoid situations so we don't have to deal with being patient. But there's always, those moments where, um, you don't have the control to make what you need to happen any faster than it's going to happen, whether it's standing in a line at a grocery store or waiting on hold on a telephone call. But it's just interesting. We've talked before about energy and how energy moves through our body and where we focus our energy. So yeah, I was a little frustrated with myself, and I shared my frustration with my son, during it, and then as well as after, just trying to explain to him why I was reacting the way I was, just as a teaching moment. But yeah, so yeah, it's interesting how when we work at things in our life and we feel like I wouldn't necessarily have felt that I've got my patience completely under control, but I'm definitely a very patient man in general. But just, wow, it just went from 0 to 60 in a situation where I had things going on, and this phone call was kind of extending out the time that I had to work on some things within my business. And that time just kept getting shorter and shorter to where I was gone, and my patience just was dropped. But so you kind of knowing that you're going through a lot of different, newer changes in your life, having Messiah, a young son, your move, your business, your relocation, all these things have been going on in your life. So I'm interested to see how patience might be showing up in your life, and then how you're dealing with it. Maybe your shortcomings and your successes on how that's how you've been able to manage that.
Oh man. It's been rearing its ugly head here recently. Just yesterday, like I lost like almost the same thing because I'm in the middle of the move and I just finished moving up. Well, one, I was frustrated because I couldn't find any help to help me move. So I'm thinking, man, I have to move this whole house by myself. So I'm frustrated about that. And I'm moving to the 3rd floor of my new apartment. So I'm like, And then after I just finished moving everything, I get a call from the job, and they tell me that they overpaid me a couple of months ago. and, and I don't even remember it. And so I'm through the roof, and
Wow.
had a couple of choice words, and then I was like, oh crap. Like, did I just really say this stuff to the manager? Like, oh my God. Just kind of sitting back like, okay, I wonder if I have a job. So I'm backpedaling, sending text and all this stuff. And so that's just one. And then I find it a lot with Mosiah, which for you guys listen, that's my son. He's 2 months, like 2.5 months now. I mean, if you have kids, you wake up at night and you have that early morning, you have to be to work, and you're just like, come on, just stop crying. And if I'm to be completely honest, man, I'm learning a whole lot now, honestly, in hindsight. And it's just kind of making me think about a lot of things and like where it's coming from. Is it anger? Uh, am I lacking somewhere? But how I'm learning to, like, how I'm dealing with it is honestly just now thinking, just trying to stop and not let the emotion control the outcome. Because it started to rear its head a little bit yesterday, just stuff wasn't going right, had stepson, they wanted to stop, and I can feel it. And I'm like, oh. So I'm like, wait a minute, okay, now you're starting to feel this again. You already messed up once today. Let's not have a family mad at you too. And so just kind of slowing down and just acknowledging the emotions, which can be hard sometimes because you have this list and you prioritize that list and the things you want to get done. And I guess it's just kind of reevaluating the priorities a little bit. Is probably how I'm going to move forward with it a little more. because I feel like that's, for me, um, that's a big issue is, damn, in saying that, I was just thinking, man, that's probably a little selfish of me too, a little bit of selfishness. 'Cause I was like, well, it's my priorities and my list, and I need to do, you know, reorganize the list. And I'm like, wow, that, before I even said it, I was like, man, that seems pretty like it's coming from a selfish place,
Right.
you know. Damn, that's pretty pretty vulnerable there, huh?
Yeah. And it's tough sometimes just to kind of allow for things in our life to just happen, just to be. It's kind of, I was just sitting here thinking about, in nature, how, a flower that, grows and slowly opens up at a, based on the environment, based on, the different things that, the nutrients that are available to allow it to actually open up the way it's supposed to. All these things that just happen very, without any type of outside influence in nature, and how as humans, we might be able to learn a little bit more from that in our lives, to where, we don't feel a need to control. We don't feel a need to influence. We don't feel a need to shape things the way that we think they're supposed to be, and have the patience to, observe, like you were saying, just observe some of those emotions as they come up, be patient with ourselves, first of all, and how that impacts others. I mean, I'm sure you've been in, one of those grocery lines where, you've got that person that's got 12 items, and it's only, you're only supposed to have 10 items, or, you're needing to get to where you need to go. And all these people ahead of you are keeping that from happening. I've been in that situation that, you can just see the different ways that people are handling that, challenge of just being patient, being mindful of, an older person may take more time to get their checkbook out versus an ATM card that gets them in and out. All these things that have changed, or we feel like they should be like us and want to get out of there as quickly as possible, versus there may not be anything else going on in that person's day, to where, who are we to put our expectation on them to say, you need to get it in and out. There's no time for a conversation with this clerk at the front counter. You need to get your stuff out of here so I can get on with my life. That whole willingness to be, maybe that's because of, we didn't do a good job of planning that day. And now our patience is being tested because, we're putting our lack of, scheduling on somebody else. And now we're, stuck for time. And so it's just, I think, how we live, each moment of our life really creates that ability to be more patient with, our children, patient with ourselves, patient with our careers. You and I have, had a lot of patience with, this podcast, this channel. We continue to put it out there. We've had patience with our coaching careers. We've been, doing a lot of things that, are, kind of creating potential opportunities, but, we don't know a lot of these things. We don't know what the ultimate outcome or how these things might manifest in our lives. So it's that willingness to be patient, and the willingness to kind of let things unfold as they're supposed to, and trust that, we are exactly where we need to be, and don't feel like we need to, be so controlling, or so manipulative, or so, just doing things that kind of waste our own energy, in those situations where patience can be a virtue and can be something that you just kind of, take that deep breath, relax, you kind of understand that there's really not something, most instances when we're in those situations, we have time. We're just not happy that somebody else is impacting our time.
Right. Yeah.
And for you, and then I'll give it over to you, the generation now with my son, it's a now generation. So patience, to be able to teach patience to somebody, that has a much different mindset and experience already, as a challenge. Now your son, as Messiah gets older, who knows what availability of information or how life is going to change that could create even more of a need to be very patient and to allow things to kind of unfold. So some, I wouldn't say challenges ahead of you, but opportunities for you to kind of tap into your own willingness to be very patient, and how that might be something that's a teaching moment for your son.
Yeah. Man, that's you were sitting there talking when you started bringing up the different generations and stuff. And I don't know how much this has to do with the game trying to teach children like how it's going to be, but we were talking about Kanisha and I were talking about the game Monopoly and how it's evolved to now it comes with basically credit cards.
Really? I haven't seen that. That's funny.
Yeah. And that's how I learned. Well, one of the ways I learned how to count money,
Right.
was with Monopoly. And I was just thinking, when you were talking, I was like, wow, it's kind of crazy how the evolution like kind of diminishes that patience too, because that's one way that it can be diminished, because now it's like, oh, let me swipe the card versus let me count out the cash. And there are, it's a plethora of other problems I see with that.
Wow.
But just, it is a microwave society. Like, oh, let me swipe the card versus, like I say, counting the cash. And it's, I don't know, kind of, I don't want to say scary, but just makes you a little bit more mindful of how we'll need to react to different situations as they get older. Man, that's just kind of crazy.
Well, it seems like we all, as we get older, at least most people that I run across, how they feel that life goes faster as we get older. And I think a lot of that is our inability to be patient, to not really slow life down, and to really put an emphasis on each experience and being patient with those experiences, and not feeling like you need to check the box, but more about what opportunities are in each moment to really learn something about yourself, to maybe experience something that you don't pay attention to in your life. And and I think that whole slowing down, or your willingness to kind of allow experiences to unfold, being patient, I believe that has a direct impact on how we feel like life is just flashing by us. Because all the way in which life passes by faster is by all these external stimulus or stimuli that come our way, faster internet, streaming videos, all these things that we decide on how we take those in. And that speeds up how we process things. It creates a longer list of things we can actually do in a day, because all these things are more accessible. Why not take a day in your life, in your week or in your month or however often that might be, just to be. One of my clients, we had a long discussion about just how busy his life is, and really tried to create a space for him to have a day for himself. And I'm interested to see how it turned out, because I challenged him to create Wednesdays as a no work day. I mean, he's working 7 days a week. He's got a family, he's got a business, he's very successful in what he's doing. But, life is just speeding by, and he's feeling like he's missing out on opportunities and not creating experiences that he wants to, or feeling like he's not. So his patience is very thin. So I'm interested to see how that turns out. But I think, for you, the listeners, and Cedric, and me as well, kind of telling myself this, taking moments of your day just to, kind of reconnect with ourselves, and to take that deep breath, experience, that as it happens in our life, creating patience with the breath, the inhalation, exhalation, not feeling a need to quickly exhale, but just patience, just to, take a big inhale and then just allow the breath to exhale, not like you're controlling. Because oftentimes we even feel like we need to control our breath, right? And sometimes that's we need to, because we've been running or something where getting regaining control of your breath might be necessary. But how often are we just allowing ourselves just to experience the simpleness of our life source, our breath, that patience of air coming in, air flowing out. And I think as parents, we're seeing how, in our lives, just how quickly these things are changing, and it's exponential. It's not like, a slow change in how things come our way. So patience is, I would guess, unless more and more people learn how to be more mindful and possibly, understand the benefits of meditation, how patience is going to become worse and worse. It's going to be something that people are going to snap. They're going to have that quick reaction to things. They're not even going to think about how they're going to respond. They're just going to respond.
Man, because I've noticed a word that's come up a few times, while we're talking, and I'm wondering, or thinking that, especially, I know for me, and I'm speaking as a male, as a man, and I think it comes from lack of control. And that was the word, we're saying control, or controlling the breathing. And it's making, and now I'm like, okay, maybe that's something I need to look at, is why is there such a need for me to control everything? Because now if I'm not controlling it, if it's not going the way I need it to go, then patience is out the window. Like you, and I guess, you want the lights off because you're trying to lower the bill, or you need the email because now I need to control not everything, but I need to control what I have going on. So I wonder, what we could do to be more mindful of that, or what avenues we could take to not necessarily be in control of everything. Because I think that's kind of where the patience goes away.
Right. But honestly, what I was just experiencing in you, with how you just expressed yourself, was, for me, I felt a lot of patience within you expressing yourself. So you didn't feel a need to, plow through a bunch of thoughts and data and information. You slowed yourself down. You gave that space before you expressed yourself to, be patient and come up with what you actually wanted to say in that situation, versus, again, kind of checking the box, answering the answer. You came from your heart. You came from a place where, your patience was to me very obvious, because I think it wasn't a forced conversation. It wasn't a forced reaction. You just slowed yourself down. You were, in the moment, and you expressed yourself. So I think that's a learning point for us in listening to others, how sometimes we don't even think about how there are things that we're doing, kind of like we talked about last week, you are living your purpose in areas of your life. It's just now, how do I apply that to my whole life? Kind of what you've just done, in speaking and sharing, your thoughts around that. That felt very purposeful. That felt very, kind of, it wasn't forced. It was just, and for me, the listener, to listen to you say that kept me being very patient. I wasn't like, okay, come on, say what you got to say. Come on, I want to say what I want to say. So finish saying what you got to say. How you expressed yourself gave me the ability to kind of slow down, to connect with what you're saying, to allow you that space to fully express yourself and not feel even a need to respond. It was just more about, wow, that's I'm hanging on everything you're saying and really feeling all of what you're trying to share.
Huh, man, that's pretty, man, it's crazy, like, man, how we can have all these thoughts and stuff. And the reason I'm saying that is because I like what's been on my mind here lately is, again, I guess it ties into patience, but how fast everything is moving. And one, how most people are listening to respond because they're not being patient or slowing the mind down to actually listen. And it's a common thing, and it's something I've been practicing here recently, is when we interact with somebody, a new person, the first time for that day, and we're so automatic, and it's just, oh, hey, how you doing? And we don't even wait for a response.
Right.
And we just, oh, because it's so cut, hey, how you doing? And you keep going, and we don't even stop to actually wait for the answer.
Right.
Or to even give an answer. We're just, oh, we hear it and we just respond, oh, I'm okay. Versus, let me think about that and let me be honest.
Right.
And it's just, man, that just trips me out sometimes when I think about how, because I was on a totally another level when I was thinking, or something else. And I'm like, wow, that kind of ties into this too. If we were just to slow down with each other, then
Right.
that could carry over into other aspects of our life.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it was one of the, I think it was either Tahan or one of the gentlemen in our Gentlemen of the Revolution group, which is one of our Facebook groups for men coaching or men coaches. He was talking about, I don't know if it was in Germany or it was in, it was in the European, European area where, like here we ask how you're doing, and we just by default we say good. No other information with that. And then he was explaining that, I think it was Germany. If somebody asks you, how you're doing, and you say good or something like, that small answer, they're not going to accept. They don't accept that. They want to learn more about. Well, tell me more about that. What is allowing you to look at life as being good? And I think what you're saying is perfect, Cedric. I think because we don't stop and have the patience in each moment of connection when we have with people to actually create us at a human level of, hey, I hear you, I see you, I experience you, and that doesn't have to be this 10-15 hour long connection or experience, but in moments where we're, I guess, giving ourselves the time to react to somebody saying, good morning, how are you doing? Maybe be a little more patient with that conversation to say, things today, I've had some rough spots. I've had, this things go on, and be a little bit more willing to share a little bit more about ourselves, be, willing to, I guess as individuals, create some of those seeds of change in people's lives to where, patience to have those conversations might be more available to us, versus just that quick. And there's still going to be those, right? Sometimes we don't have the time to stop and have that deeper connection. But I think there's a lot of opportunities within our lives where, even in a social situation where it's just a default, hey, yeah, I'm good, or not bad. And I've always wondered, what does that mean? What does not bad mean?
Yeah.
Like slightly bad, but maybe, a lot of area for improvement. So yeah, I think there's lots of ways that we can physically, emotionally, spiritually, kind of slow things down in our lives to where, patience becomes more of a trait about us versus it being something we have to grasp for and feel like we have no patience. And yesterday was a huge kind of experience for me to, know about myself, but also to, with a 13-year-old son, to, kind of at least share with him, some of my challenges of who I am at times in my life, and how it carries over into a conversation with him, and how I need to be very aware of how, when I'm trying to create this version of myself where I'm very authentic and vulnerable and all these other things that I'm focusing and trying to be, if I'm not being those things and I'm this, inauthentic, reactionary, frustrated man, and I'm carrying that over into just general, wonderful, amazing connections with my son, I'm doing a disservice to both of us. So patience is huge. I mean, I just kind of now re-envisioning that flower as it sits there and just slowly opens up and then just expresses itself, and a lot to learn from just the simpleness of nature.
Yeah. Huh. Man, because I'm sitting here, guys, because I'm in retail, and I work at a batteries and a bulbs place, and most interactions, if people come in and they know what they want, is pretty quick, but most of them require some research, because people come in with a shard of glass and one piece of a base and like, hey, I need this. So we got to kind of dig deep, ask some questions. And it's a very small store, and it's not like it's busy on a Walmart level or anything like that, but what could be busy for us is to have, oh gosh, like if we have 5 or 6 people in the store at one time, it's like, okay, the stress level goes up a little bit, and because you can see it, because people come in and they think it's a battery store, it's a bulb. I mean, get my batteries, get my bulb, and I'm out. But they don't understand what kind of goes with it. And as a coach, it's something I do, and because I can sense it, sometimes with people, especially an older person, and sometimes I can feel myself like, oh, Jesus, and I'm trying to churn and burn through the people, get them in and out, because I know, hey, you want to go about your day, and it's like, okay, I need to calm down, and it's something I always do. And it was just like, I'm just thinking like, man, that's something we can incorporate into our lives when we do feel that emotion or that start to well up. Is I always tell people, all right, hey guys, and I like to joke, and I'm like, hey guys, I understand everybody has somewhere to be. I get it. We're going as fast as we can possibly go. But hey, what I need everybody to do right now is just think about what's going good in your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy how instantly you can just feel all that energy just shift.
Right.
Even if it's just for a moment, because they're like, one, they're witnessing a human on a positive note. Like, whoa. Because I have, like, in those moments, at least one of those people are going to be like, wow, that was great service. I've never had anybody to, and I'm not doing it for those accolades. I'm really doing it for me as well as for them, because I don't need anybody to get pissed off and bring that up to me. So I need everybody to stay calm. I want you guys to know we're taking care of it. And so it just makes me like, I'm like, wow, that's something we can really start to incorporate, because you can see that shift. And because really what's happening is when we start to feel it again, we're not in control, or we feel like we're losing control.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and maybe even that something is not even in control. Let's keep it simpler than that. Something is not going good, or not going right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we start to incorporate that, when you do feel it, okay, what's going good? Hey, maybe my email's down, but there's other things I can do.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I can't find anybody to, on my personal friends list to help me move, but maybe I can go buy labor ready and see if some guys didn't get picked for the day and pay them the same thing I would have paid a friend.
Right.
Something is going good. you know. Uh, it was just something that just popped in. I'm like, huh,
Yeah.
that's a way we can start to attack that. And is it going to be easy? Hell no, probably not. Because when you're in control of the situation, like when I'm in the retail, yeah, it's great. But now when it's me, are you coming home and now the lights are on, or I've told you to do this, or he's up crying in the middle of the night. Can't do anything about it. Okay, what is going good? Well,
Mm.
shit, at least he's alive. That might be the only thing I can look at. Okay, well, something's going good. It's always something good.
And I think in our body wants to get back to normalcy. We don't want to carry this anxiety around and have to have this agitation about us as we move forward in our day. So, sometimes that's self-regulation because we're by ourselves and we have to figure out a way to, let go, to kind of not think we need to control the situation. But in those situations, like you're saying, I mean, people are looking for some normalcy in amongst their chaos. So if you can be that person, you, the listener, or anybody else in your life where, you can be that, person that actually creates that normalcy, whether it's just the calmness about yourself, how you are in a situation. I mean, we all know in situations where there's, a ton of people around and the person that's supposed to be in charge looks, like there's something's going to happen crazy with that person. That doesn't help us at all. That just, reaffirms that life is crazy. We need to all be crazy. But, like you're saying, if you can slow yourself down to the point where I got this, let's focus on what I can do for you. I can't get to you within the next 10 minutes, most likely, because I've got 5 customers ahead of you. But, here's maybe something you can practice or look at or experience to get you through that period of time. And then when I get to you, I'm all yours. I'm going to focus completely on what you need from me and do my best to satisfy, whatever service or product or, need that you may have. And I think we all want that. Well, we all want the ability to get back to that normalcy in our life. That I don't think any of us really would honestly say we love that negative energy that feels like it just needs to just be getting gotten rid of. I think if we can kind of reestablish that connection with that energy and kind of figure out where it's at in our bodies even, and then refocus it, with our thoughts or with our actions or our experience, things shift. Like you're saying, mindset shift. That's a tongue
Mind
twister.
shit.
Mind shift, mindset shift. Those things can happen, but it's, sometimes it just takes one person to make that difference. In a situation like that, and patience becomes much more doable when, look at the world, right? Look at everything going on, that we read about and hear about in the news, so it's, do we have the patience to kind of know in our lives that good things will continue to happen, or, those things that we can do within our lives to not assume or take on that craziness that we sometimes feel is our life versus it doesn't have to be our life. We can have that, ability to kind of connect with that part of us. And you, the listener, I think, as you listen into our podcast each week or our episodes that we've put out there, when you sense that there's something that you want to change based on our own experiences, how patient are you with change? How patient are you with, still there? Lost you. How patient are you with, your own life to where there's not that, that anxiety around, what's next for me and how I'm going to, create that new space. I lost my buddy Ced, so Ced, you out there? Technology. Here's patience right here. I'm practicing patience. I'm on the podcast by myself, my episode here of being patient, and I'm being patient with my partner is no longer here with me. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say my goodbyes, and I'm I'm going to wish you, the listeners, an amazing rest of your day. Share, explore, be willing to kind of tap into areas of your life where there's a lot of uncertainty around the various topics we talk about, and patience with yourself, patience with others, is something to really focus on, be aware of, and how you can do that, to allow for change in other people's lives. I think Cedric's trying to reconnect here. So I am going to be patient so he can say his goodbyes. This is, I think I'm being tested right now. I'm being tested to see if Cedric's going to show back up. But I know as you, the listeners, your patience might be waning right now. So, well, I'm going to say our goodbyes from Cedric, and have an amazing the rest of your week in your life. Create the change that you want, from your own perspective, and then allow others to tap into who you are. Love y'all, and we will see you next time in the Man Cave. Take care. Oh. All right, so I just went through this whole patience thing. All right, are you there?
Yeah.
All right, so just bring you up to date where I'm at. I just actually did say my goodbyes. I was just kind of did my closing, just about being patient, and I experienced patience by myself, not knowing if you were going to show up again. So in the interest of just this whole experience of not feeling like I need to control things, I'm going to say my final goodbyes, and I'm going to turn it over to the amazing, patient Cedric Edison, who's going to say his goodbyes.
Wow. Wow. So I thought, y'all, Murphy's Law is out there. It's out there because we're talking about all patience. And the power flashed out, and I didn't realize that I was running solely off the power and not the battery, because I'm on the laptop today.
Uh-huh.
And immediately I felt that, because the laptop should have been charged by the last user. So it's like, so Murphy is out there. Like, something will come. So you'll have to be in that moment. So just understand that. Wow. But yeah, man, I greatly hope that you guys, got something from it, or that something is embedded in there that you can pass on to somebody, or if there's some feedback you can give us. Maybe we didn't cover it all. Maybe there's some other things we missed. We're just two dudes just having a conversation about a topic, about our life, shit that's happening, going on. So yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Patience is a virtue.
Yes.
So practice it often. I know I will. I hope you will. And again, man, I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with us, taking out your day. You have, because your time is valuable, and it's irreplaceable, and I greatly appreciate you guys spending, if it's a minute, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever the case may be, with us. And so with that, man, I love you guys. I love you, Ron. And I must say, my dog. I don't know. Yeah, there it is. I love y'all. Namaste until next time.
Good night.